Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Chapter 25, The Great Glass Elevator. I've never seen anything like it, cried Mr. Wonka. The children are disappearing like rabbits. But you mustn't worry about it. They'll all come out in the wash. Mr. Wonka looked at the little group that stood beside him in the corridor. There were only two children left now, Mike Teave and Charlie Bucket. And there were three grown-ups, Mr. and Mrs. Teave, Grandpa Joe. Shall we move on? Mr. Wonka asked. Oh, yes, cried Charlie and Grandpa Joe, both together. My feet are getting tired, said Mike Teave. I want to watch television. If you're tired, then we'd better take the elevator, said Mr. Wonka. It's over here. Come on. In we go. He skipped across the passage to a pair of double doors. The doors slid open. The two children and the grown-ups went in. Now then, cried Mr. Wonka, which button shall we press first? Take your pick. Charlie Bucket stared around him in astonishment. This is the craziest elevator he had ever seen. There were buttons everywhere. The walls and even the ceiling were covered all over with rows and rows and rows of small black push buttons. There must have been 1,000 of them on each wall and another 1,000 on the ceiling. Now Charlie noticed that every single button had a tiny printed label beside it telling you which room you would be taken to if you pressed it. This isn't just an ordinary up-and-down elevator, announced Mr. Wonka proudly. This elevator can go sideways and longways and slantways and any other way you can think of. I can visit any single room in the whole factory, no matter where it is. You simply press the button and zing, you're off. Whoa, that sounds like a pretty cool elevator. Fantastic, murmured Grandpa Joe. His eyes were shining with excitement as he stared off in the rows and rows of buttons. The whole elevator is made of thick, clear glass, Mr. Wonka declared. Walls, doors, ceilings, floor, everything is made of glass so that you can see out. But there's nothing to see, said Mike Teave. Choose a button, said Mr. Wonka. The two children may press one button each. So take your pick. Hurry up. In every room, something delicious and wonderful is being made. Quickly, Charlie started reading some of the labels alongside the buttons. The Rock Candy Mine, 10,000 deep, it said on one. Coconut ice skating rinks, it said on another. Then, strawberry juice water pistols. Toffee apple trees for planting out of your garden, all sizes. Exploding candy for your enemies. Ooh. Luminous lollies for eating in bed at night. Jujubes, yeah, for the boy next door. That'll give him green teeth for a month. Cavity-filling caramels, no more dentist. That would be kind of cool. Most caramels take away or ruin your teeth. Stick jaw for talkative parents. Wrinkle sheets that wrinkle delightfully in your tummy after swallowing. Invisible chocolate bars for eating in class. I bet some of my kids would want to get that. Invisible chocolate bars. I wonder if Miss Terry could use those invisible chocolate bars and eat. I wonder if my students would notice if Miss Terry was eating invisible chocolate bars. I probably would not. That would be bad. But I would still. That'd be funny. Candy-coated pencils for sucking. Ew. Fizzy lemonade swimming pools. Magic hand fudge. When you hold it in your hand, you taste it in your mouth. Rainbow drops. Suck them and you can spit in 6 different colors. Come on, cried Mr. Wonka. We can't wait all day. Isn't there a television room in any of this in all of this lot? Asked Mike Teave. Certainly there's a television room, Mr. Wonka said. That button's over here. He pointed with his finger. Everybody looked. Television chocolate. It said on the tiny label beside the button. Whoopee! Shouted Mike T. Why am I not using my rock? Look at this. I've been trying. There. Whoopee! Shouted Mike Teeth. That's for me. He stuck out his thumb and pressed the button. Instantly, there was a tremendous whizzing noise. The doors changed. That's a L. Clinked shut, and the elevator leaped away as though it had been stung by a wasp. But it leapt sideways, and all the passengers, except Mr. Wonka, who was holding onto a strap from the ceiling, were flung off to their feet onto the floor. Get up, cried Mr. Wonka, roaring with laughter. But just as they were staggering to their feet, the elevator changed directions and swerved violently round a corner, and over they went once more. Help! Shouted Mrs. Teeve. Take my hand, madame, said Mr. Wonka gallantly. Look at him strapped to the bar, and everyone else. Ooh, so much going on. It's kind of funny. And look, little Charlie's holding up to Grandpa Joe. There you are. Now grab this strap. Everybody grab strap. The journey's not over yet. Old Grandpa Joe staggered to his feet and caught hold of a strap. Little Charlie, who couldn't possibly reach as high as that, put his arms around Grandpa Joe's legs and hung on tight. The elevator rushed on at the speed of a rocket. Now it was beginning to climb. It was shooting up and up on a steep, slanty course, as if it were climbing on a very steep hill. Then suddenly, as though it had come to the top of the hill and gone over a precipice, it dropped like a stone, and Charlie felt his tummy coming right into his. Why am I shaking? Charlie felt his tummy coming. Grandpa Joe shouted, Yippee! Here on the go! And Mrs. Teeve cried out, The rope has broken! We're going to crash! And Mr. Wonka said, Calm yourself, my dear lady, and patted her comfortingly on the arm. And then Grandpa Joe looked down at Charlie, who was clinging to his legs, and said, Are you all right, Charlie? Charlie shouted, I love it. It's like being on the roller coaster. And through the glass walls of the elevator, as it rushed along, they caught a sudden glimpse of a strange, wonderful things going on in some of the other rooms. An enormous spout of brown sticky stuff oozing out onto the floor. A great craggy mountain made entirely of fudge, with Oompa Loompas all roped together for safety, hacking huge hunks of fudge out of its sides. A machine with its white powder spraying out like a snowstorm. A lake hot caramel with steam coming off of it. A village of Oompa Loompas with tiny houses and streets and hundreds of Oompa Loompa children, no more than 4 inches high, playing in the streets. And now the elevator began flattening out again, but it seemed to be going faster than ever, and Charlie could hear the scream of the wind outside as it hurtled forward and twisted and turned, and it went up and it went down, and I'm going to be sick, yelled Mrs. Teeve, turning green in the face. Please don't be sick, said Mr. Wonka. Try and stop me, said Mrs. Teeve. Then you better take this, said Mr. Wonka, as he swept his magnificent black top hat off his head and held it out, upside down in front of Mrs. Teeve's mouth. Make this awful thing stop, ordered Mr. Teeve. Can't do that, said Mr. Wonka. It won't stop till we get there. I only hope no one's using the other elevator at this moment. What other elevator? Screamed Mrs. Teeve. The one that goes the opposite way in the same track as this one, said Mr. Wonka. Before we read, do you predict that do you think something's going to happen possibly because of this track and how it works? Holy mackerel, cried Mr. Teeth. You mean we might have a collision? I've always been lucky so far, said Mr. Wonka. Now I am going to be sick, yelled Mrs. Teeth. No, no, said Mr. Wonka. Not now. We're nearly there. Don't spoil my hat. The next moment there was a screaming of brakes, and the elevator began to slow down. Then it stopped altogether. Some ride, said Mr. Teeb, wiping his great, sweaty face with a handkerchief. Never again, gasped Mrs. Teeb, and then the doors of the elevator slid open, and Mr. Wonka said, just a minute now. Listen to me. I want everybody to be very careful in this room. There is a dangerous stuff around in here, and you must not tamper with it. The television chocolate room. Oh man, I was hoping that there'd be a collision on the elevator. Oh well, looks like my prediction was wrong. Instead, they got to the television chocolate. There's still much of this book to read. So maybe it will happen, maybe not. You guys are amazing. I hope you guys remember how awesome you are, and I love my little gold smiley faces. And of course, my random pineapple. And I think it's funny you guys always play with that. You guys are amazing. Have a great day. Bye.